And this is a signal for the drivers, first the mechanics, to push them onto the track, get the engines going. The last qualifying heat of the first part of the day, opposing Group A and D. Here we go for the grid. Shorey, Timotej Kucharczyk and Nikola Tsolov sharing the front row of the grid. Rintaro Sato, Daniel Briz by the side on the second row. Then we're going to have Martin de Stenzon and Javier Lindblad on row 3, followed by Ivan Dominguez and Artem Severyukin. Row number 5, Luigi Coluccio and Ruben Moya. Oscar Pedersen and Kasper Nagman on row number 6. Rafael Mondonese and Onin Gali on row number 7. Nico Kuman and Francesco Marenghi on row number 8. Might be more than willing to give him a hard time in the braking point, or maybe in the first sector as well. Watch out for the turn number 1, as well as for the hairpin at turn number 5. Rintaro Sato, well positioned from third place to take the toe from the pole sitter. Are we racing? No, we are not. Here we go for one more formation lap. And once again, you can feel that even though with all the willingness from the pole sitters and the guys in front, sometimes the grid cannot be quite formed as the officials want it. So we go for one more formation lap. An extra time, of course, for the drivers to get the tires up to temperatures. The MGA tires that have been functioning with different levels of performance from one team to the other. It's always one of the trickiest factors to be able to manage in karting. Once you find a setup, you need, of course, to be able to handle the tires. And from experience that we have had this season with the Brazilian compound, these MG tires are quite efficient on a short window. Sometimes quite difficult to put up to temperatures, but this is down to the drivers to master that part of the aspect of the driving. And talking to some of the older drivers actually is very funny when you actually get to talk to those drivers currently that are being coached by other drivers, even years and years after they stopped competing. They always get back to the question of the tires as the key factor to be able to master if you want to extract performance. So let's see if Nikola Tsolov will be able to make it 2 in a row. Timotej Kucharczyk, that you just heard at the interview, by his side. Rintaro Sato, Daniel Briz. Are we going to go for racing this time around? Yes, we are. Green, green, green. Nikola Tsolov on the inside of turn number 1. Watch out for Kucharczyk, and he actually closed the door. Oh, 2 drivers coming together before the first corner. Oh, that was a heavy impact, and I think that one wheel went flying into the air. Let's see to try to who that is. This is the 316 from Modelon Competition, I think, and the 306 that is going missing as well. The 206 is Gustav Wisniewski from the Sober Karting team. And the 316, if I've seen correctly, is Jere Valor-Luque from Modelon Competition. The 278 as well from Birelart is going to go missing. Maximilian Angelar. So we don't have just 2, but 3 drivers into the mix. Gustav Wisniewski, Angelar, and Jere Valor-Luque, unfortunately, coming together before the breaking point of turn number 1. While talking to the drivers coming to this event, they had told me that maybe the way to turn number 1 was going to be a bit chaotic. I must say that so far so good, but in this race we've just had a demonstration that if drivers get together on this very fast right-hander, anything can happen. And unfortunately, we're already missing 3 drivers into this qualifying heat. In the meantime, this is the opening lap completed. Nikola Tsolov, another driver in trouble, the 320, I'm afraid. Let's try to see who that is. This is Matthias Jacobsen, unfortunately, the driver from Denmark, who's going to try to get going again. And he does brilliantly. That's always a tricky thing to do, but after leaving the track, Matthias Jacobsen is back in contention. There you go. He's going to be, of course, tumbling down the order with quite a lot of time to catch up, but it's always better than nothing. In the meantime, on your screen, 319, this is further back, Daniel Briz, who dropped 3 positions, and he's being chased at the moment. Daniel Briz by Ruben Moya as well. Martin de Stenzon, Artem Severyukin in the mix. On your picture, this is the 271 of Martin de Stenzon. He has Daniel Briz just in front of him. Further back as well, Ruben Moya. We have as well Oli Gali. Dominguez in 10. Let's have a full classification once again as they come across. 2 laps completed. The 215 of Artem Severyukin from World Racing is driving in 5th place at the moment. On your screen, the 271 of Martinus Stenzon is being chased by the 252 of Ruben Moya from Czech Republic. Ruben Moya driving on home soil, the young Spaniard, as well as Daniel Briz just in front of him. Once you drive in your country, there's a sort of extra force that pushes you really to do your best. And hopefully this will bring good results to the young boys from Spain. on your screen. From Car Republic, Rintaro Sato, 263, being overtaken by Artem Severukin. Severukin making his way through, getting past the Japanese driver who shut the door because Daniel Briz was really close, ready to take the opportunity as well. He's going to have to wait a bit of an extra lap. Look at how close they are coming to turn number 14. And Daniel Briz was coming close to get past Sato. Watch out for any wheel touching, but Sato has to stay behind Artem Severukin, who shuts the door. That could be a good opportunity for Martin Stenzon, who was diving through the inside, trying to open the door in turn number 1. Not quite easy at full speed as the drivers. And watch out because Stenzon, in the meantime, is getting overtaken by Ruben Moya. Ruben Moya is going through Stenzon, who's going to drop another position to Olin Gali, I'm afraid. The CRG driver going past as well. Yes, indeed. There's a change. Olin Gary in 8, Ruben Moya is 7, and Martin Stenzon with the Leclerc chassis dropping down to 9. In the meantime, while we're keeping an eye on this battle, Nikolaj Solov extending his gap more than half of a second on Timotej Kucharczyk, having Lindblad climbing through a third place in the meantime, with 3/10 of a difference between himself and Kucharczyk. 1 full second behind Solov. Then we have Severukin on your picture being chased by Briz, Rintaro Sato, Ruben Moya, Olin Gali. And watch out for Stenzon. He takes his position back against Olin Gali. And Olin Gali has to admit defeat and drops back to 9th place, the CRG driver, as you can see. Further back in the mix, we have Caspian Agman, who is running at the top 10. The battle on your screen, Stenzon with the 271. With the newly created, I mean, it's been more than a season now, almost 2 seasons that we've seen the Leclerc by Lennox Racing chassis competing at the highest level of racing. Another demonstration of course, the attachment, the love that current Formula 1 drivers still have for karting. This is the bottom step of the ladder, but the stepping stone of any motorsport career. And Charles Leclerc and next season, Lando Norris are some of the best examples of commitment that those drivers want to give back to karting. In the meantime, Kevin Aaron Quevedo, the 24, is having a warning flag. Let's see where he is, tumbling down the order at the very last place. And certainly, this is the result of one of the incidents that we saw earlier. 1.1 second. Nikolaj Solov is unbeatable and unreachable at the moment by Kucharczyk and Lindblad behind. We're back for the battle with Lindblad getting close to Timotej Kucharczyk. Solov just put together the fastest lap, looking 1 minute point 3 and extending this gap to 1.2 seconds. So at the moment, it seems that no one was going to be able to catch up with the young Bulgarian. Really at ease, really comfortable on the track. That has been knowing quite well, certainly more than other drivers here competing for DPK. And watch out for the move on the 252. This is on Ruben Moya, and Olin Gali from CRG is going through, at least trying to, because further back he has, watch out, Caspian Agman and Karol Pasevich trying to join the party as well. The 221 of Karol Pasevich run inside and thinking his teammate for more racing with him. That's not the good news at all for Olin Gali. Oh, and 2 drivers involved in a big crash over there. Another strong incident that's happening outside of turn number 2. In the first sector, in the hairpin of turn number 5. Who do we have missing? Yellow flag is being waved, and full course yellow. This is very logical, as you saw briefly on the picture. I think one of the drivers has been quite badly hit in the incident. At least he was lying on the ground. Certainly a bit of a shock after the incident. Let's try to see who we have involved in this incident. But yellow flag and full course yellow. Once again, interruption of this race. The second severe interruption of this race, as we have Vivas Alvarez and Arnur Shabdar, 276 and 227, I think, that were involved. Let's try to have confirmation of that as soon as possible. But in the meantime, you don't see it, but the medical staff is on its way already to the place of the incident. 2 drivers involved, and we have as well Daniel Briz. Daniel Briz is missing as well. His kart is lying on the side of the road as well at turn number 5, the hairpin on top of the track. So I think Daniel Briz is the other driver that got involved, but we have a 3rd driver as well. So it wasn't quite clear, but let's wait for confirmation. Let's wait for more news coming our way But in the meantime, the classification is fixed as it is. Less than 5 laps from the checkered flag, full course yellow, and interdiction for the drivers to overtake, of course, any other driver onto the track. And that's actually, I don't want to say good news, because it's never good news when you have a big incident involving drivers, especially when the medical staff has to intervene. But in terms of racing, the 1.2 second advantage that this young man on your screen, Nicolas Tsolov, had built in the opening stages is reduced to nothing, pretty much. And that could be a golden opportunity for his rivals and pursuers, Timotej Kucharczyk, Lindblad, Rintaro Sato, and the others, to try to reverse the order of this race. Medical staff still at work on the side of the incident in turn number 1, the sector number 1, sorry, the turn number 5. You can see them briefly on the corner of your picture. But as the drivers keep on going around the track, we had already an interruption at the red flag, if you were not with us earlier, into the streaming, as Laurence Satua, the young Belgian driver from Elkin, actually had a big incident in turn number 14, which required the intervention of the medical staff as for now. But the red flag was declared by David Manchester and the officials, and that's a good sign already that we can see one of the drivers from CRG is back on his feet with the medical team, and that's what we love to see, of course. Let's try to identify who that was, but he's back on his feet, and that's what we love to see, definitely. And the chassis have been put on the side. I think we're going to be good to go for racing in just a few moments. We're still on the yellow flags session right now. Full course yellow flag condition for the entire field of drivers around the track. The time, of course, for the marshals to clear the path, clear the way. And once again, this is my opportunity to give a big thank you and muchas gracias to all the marshals involved into the running of this event and the entire crew behind the organization of this event. But the marshals, without you guys, there would not be any motorsport, there would not be any karting. So the marshals and the medical staff always deserve a round of applause, a multiple round of applause, and a big gratitude throughout the season. And once again, they were very efficient in acting on location, in going to the site of the incident, and that's something that we love to see. But the driver was up on his feet. As the pack is going together again, we're going to be good to go. And the driver that you have seen on his feet is the young Spanish driver, Albany Vivas Alvarez. Green, green, green. We're good to go for racing. We have less than 2 laps to go before the checkered flag. That's going to be quite tight. But now there's no more gaps. There was more than 1 second. But now it's down to just 2 tenths. And Timotej Kucharczyk sees the opportunity, as well as Arvid Lindblad. Look at them, all three in the same picture. Now the pressure is on the shoulders of the leader, Nicolas Tsolov, who has the pace. But after this interruption, the engine has been warmed up a little bit. But they don't like to be running at slow speed. Now you just need to get back on the throttle, keep the focus on. He's watching over his shoulder, trying to see where Kucharczyk is, just behind for just a couple of meters into the double right-hander. Lindblad is following as a shadow just behind, coming to turn number 14, the hairpin. We're about to conclude the penultimate lap already, the last lap coming our way. 1.5 kilometers, that's not a lot for Kucharczyk to try to launch an attack. As the conclusion of this race is near us. One last lap for Nicolas Tsolov on his way to potentially his second victory of the weekend in the heat. Can Timotej Kucharczyk try to reverse that order? He has 0.4 of a second of a gap. Dropped a little bit in the last sector. Arvid Lindblad is not far behind for 0.3. But I think that it's done and dusted when it comes to the victory, as Tsolov really managed well the restart in the last 2 laps. The last 1.5 laps, even Rintaro Sato still in 4th. Then we have Severikin in 5th, Stenzon in 6th, Moya 7, 8th place for Kasper Nagman in front of Olin Gali, Francesco Marenghi running up the top 10. And I think looking at the field as they go through the last sector, there's a bit of a tussle further back with one of the award racing drivers, but I don't think that the top 10 will change very much. Watch out, I've spoken too soon. There was a change for the back. But in the meantime, Nikola Tsolov wins his second qualifying heat of the weekend in Campillos. Another strong victory for DPK Racing on home soil. Kucharczyk finishes in second, Lindblad in third, Gunther Sato is fourth, Artem Severyukin in fifth place in front of Martin Stenzon, Kasper Nagman, Ruben Moya, Olin Gary, and Francesco Marenghi in the top 10. I had seen actually on the corner of my eye into the last corner, the last hairpin. A bit of a move actually, but I think in the process, while we were watching Tsolov, the driver took the position back. So no change in the top 10 until the checkered flag. 11th place in hands of Ivan Dominguez in front of Luigi Coluccio, Maximilian Obst in 13. Then we have Karol Pasievic, Oscar Pedersen, Carmen Krav, Pedro Hilbrand in 17, followed by Nico Kuman, Giuliano Olzem, Rafael Mondonese, Mark Kastelic, Nicolas Pirtilati. Gomez Gutierrez is 23rd with a good recovery of 11th place. Flavio Oliveri is 24th. Andrea Viblinatite is 25th in front of Jokubas Bagnovicius, Kevin Quevedo, and Jaime Sanz Torrijos. So the drivers coming back to the pits, those who will need to be recovered from the track. We have Ariel Valer-Luque, Maximilian Angelar, Gustav Winiwerski, Matthias Bjerre Jacobsen, and the young driver from CRG that we were so relieved to see on his feet coming back to the Parc Fermé with the medical staff, Albani Viva Alvarez, as well as Arnur Chabar and Daniel Brice that went missing as well. Quite a very disappointing result for the driver who was starting from the second row of the grid. So, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, this was the conclusion of the first part of our show, first part of the program. We're going to take a break, and we will be back with the start of the next race at 20 past 3. So, we will be back 5 minutes before, 15 past 15, easy to remember. Local time, of course, in Spain. In the meantime, we just prepared for you some of the highlights of the previous races as we were in Genk and Zuera for round 1 and 2 of Champions of the Future. We'll leave you with that. We'll take a short break, catch up our breath, and we'll be back